Hi guys and welcome. Okay, so today in today's build video we are building one of these. Okay, it's a BMW R12 with sidecar. It's by IBG. It's a 3-in-1 kit, which basically means you can build a civilian version like you see here or a military version. It's in 1/35 scale and the kit number is 35001. Okay, so nice big box, but despite the size of the box, this is actually a very small kit with a lot of little pieces. Okay, so give you an idea of how big this kit will be once it's finished. Let's put that aside, and here we have. This is an old, very old, 1970s, I think I built this one. Zundap motorcycle from Tamiya's 88mm kit. It is going to be restored up to a better looking condition, but that's how big this BMW R12 would be once it's finished. Okay, so let's put this thing aside and get started building this thing. Okay, so there are only 2 sprues in this. You'll see the wheels and the tires. Most of those parts there go together to actually complete the engine. You've got split front and back mudguards and the sidecar. Okay, so all these pieces go together to make a little tiny motorcycle. All right, so let's put these aside. Let's have a look at the instructions. And first we are going to start with step 1. As you can see, all of the wheels and tires are 5 parts. All right, so let's just get started. Okay, make sure you get the right numbers lined up, both sides of the actual spoke wheels. All right, so in a second I'll take these off the screws and we'll have a look at how they go together. Okay, so one thing you'll notice when you're taking this apart is actually how thick the sprue gates are where they join these wheels. Okay, they're not as bad on the actual tires. These are quite small, so that's not too bad, but on the actual wheels they're quite heavy and they will leave quite a mark, which is why I'm cutting them out here so that I can trim them later on. So if you do ever have a kit that has such thick gates joining a piece, cut it out wide and then trim it off later. That way you won't gouge into the edge of the kit, especially with something like this. Okay, a wheel. Okay, so I'll carry on doing this and then we'll get to actually putting these together. Okay, so here is a quick tip for if you've got multiple parts like this. So these are the internal tire section. This is the outer sides, and of course each one of these 4 wheels on this particular kit goes in a certain point. So the easiest way is bottom of the box, use it as your thing. Do this. That's A1, that's A2, that's A3, so that way you make a pile of each in there. Okay, and then because this has got 4 different tires and 4 different places, okay, so you just mark 1 1, okay, 1 2, 1 3, 1 4, and this particular set here is 1 3. Okay, that's easy, and that's using the bottom of the box. very simple thing. Depending on what part you're using, you could use either the bottom of the box or the inside part. If it's going to be very small and you're scared that the carpet monster is going to get it, use the inside of the box and do exactly the same thing. You'll know exactly where all these parts go without any confusion. Okay, so let's get on with this kit. So as you can see, it's really massive. Where it's connected to the wheel, it would have been much better if it had been quite small. Some manufacturers can do it, some can't. Hopefully IBG will get its act together. Okay, once it's cut off, you'll see it's still pretty rough. I'll just clean it up a little bit more. And then I can feel it with my nail. You can still see it's quite rough. And then we'll just sand it down. And I will continue to do this with every single one of these. So literally you can actually feel rough bits with your nails much easier than you can with your fingertips, because your fingertips get hard, but you can still feel it. But with your nail you can actually feel every little bit that's going to be a problem, or possibly a problem. Okay, so let's carry on trimming these down and giving them a bit of a sand. This kit does have its challenges. This is, as you can see, half the sidecar. It has 6 attachment points to the sprue. 2 of them, back and front, especially this part here, are critical points where you really want that surface to be perfect, but they've decided to put an attachment point on there. And this is the frame. Okay, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 attachment points on the outside and 2 sections on the inside where it's been built. So that's an interesting challenge to clean that up without too bad. Although I must admit some of these attachment points are quite thin, and that will be a much easier thing to clean up rather than the thick ones like this. Okay, so I'm going to carry on, clean this up, and then we'll start building this sidecar. All right, see you in a second. Okay, so all the parts are separated. They're all cleaned up. That was a challenge, getting that out, getting all those sprue joins off. All right, so next challenge, of course, is getting this together. There are no locating pins, so it's going to be quite a challenge, and especially cleaning up that join without destroying the nice detail on the edges. Okay, so let's get on with it. Okay, so that's the sidecar finished. now we move on to the engine. All right, so there is 14 parts in this particular engine block. Plus you do also get a choice between a single carburetor version, which has a mixing pipe, or twin carburetor version. I'll probably go for the twin carburetor version because it might make it easier to paint the whole engine with details. Okay, so yes, as I said, 14 parts. All of them are on this particular sprue. This is the A sprue. They're all quite small, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them off, trim them down, sand them off, lay them out on the box top. Okay, so you give you a good idea of how big this engine really is, and then we'll start putting this thing together. Okay, so see you in a minute. Righto, so I've trimmed all the parts, cut them off the sprue. Most of these parts had at least 3, if not 4, joins to the sprue, which was interesting, especially when you consider how big they are. As you can see, I have grabbed my friend Kurt here to give you an idea how big these bits and pieces are. He is a 1/35 scale Tamiya figure. Okay, he can go back to what he was doing, he was just sitting there doing nothing. And in a second, I'll put this engine together and we'll have a look and see what it's like when it's completed. Okay, so having completed the mudguards and seat and tank, now we're on to this one, step 10. And if you have a close look at the arrows on that. Okay, so that's looks confusing, but if you take it step by step, you shouldn't have a problem. Of course, that's just the instructions. The actual parts themselves, as you can see, as usual for this kit, all right, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 external plus 2 internal on both frame members. Okay, that's going to be a challenge. And yes, the parts are spread across both sprues, all right, and some of them are quite small. So I'm going to take these parts off the sprue, all of them, and then put this beastie together. Alrighty, let's get going.